judge you are talking about. It varies from person to person. Don't put them in one class. You have all kinds of people. There are people who are fiercely independent. There are people who are not so fiercely independent. There are people who are pliable.
Is the Collegium System a cozy club?
No, there are problems there. That's why I protested and stopped attending the meeting. There are problems. If you check up the background of that Collegium System, why was it propounded by the Supreme Court? Did you check up ever? Prior to the judgment, just as it's happening, it always happened. It happens today, it happened earlier. I'm sure it will happen in future also if the civil society keeps silent. The government of the day was manipulating the appointment, sitting over recommendations. So all this led to the second judge's case and the creation of the Collegium System. But in the process, how well it functioned is a different matter. I have already given my reasons in my dissenting judgment.
Well, there are two parts question. Okay, who's going to hold the CAG accountable? So just like the Supreme Court, which is Supreme Court in the country, the Auditor General is called the Supreme Audit Institution. That means in terms of audit, he's the Supreme within the country. And we face this issue that that who will hold the CAG to be accountable. Now what we did was we got other CAGs of other countries. They led by the Australian CAG himself, Australia, UK, USA, and Canada. Four of the CAGs put together a team of 14 auditors and audited the CAG of India. They put out a report which is on the website. Out of 10 issues, they found 8 of them to be all right. There were 2 faults that they pointed out in our processes. We've corrected them. So I think it's a question of just upgrading your professional skills. That's about all. I think it's a very credible body which decides on the appointments. The CAG is not appointed by this collegium, if I can call it. CAG is appointed by the Prime Minister on the recommendations, a single appointment. But others are. What other more credible body can you create which will make such appointments? You see, it's
a more independent body, a body which is less prone to government influence. The point is, that's where the CBI is called a cage parrot or a Rottweiler. At the end of the day, the CBI director, either in the previous government, is accused of doing the government's bidding.
See, there are interested or vested interests in all such appointments. Any body that you can conceptualize, you call it an independent body, you can call it a distanced body, or a totally body which is away from government, will have its own interests. And people will start finding flaws with that body. I think it's a very good system to have the Chief Justice. Nobody can fault the Chief Justice or the Prime Minister or the leader of opposition making a choice. Well, if it's going to be 2-1, so be it. It's all right. You may never get unanimity on any particular issue, and why should we strive for it? Cricket. Why did the Supreme Court have to step into it if the people who were holding the positions that they were holding in the BCCI doing their job properly? It was not because Vinod Rai wanted to get into it or Raina wanted to get into it. It was because there was not only a perceived but a demonstrated fallacy in the functioning of the BCCI. And today, India is a democracy. Cricket is not a passion, it's a religion. So people who are concerned about the way cricket was being managed went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is as good a batsman as anybody else. If the ball is thrown to the Supreme Court, they can't say, no, it's a white ball and I won't bat. Supreme Court took it on. Yes, but there are far more important things that the Supreme Court has to attend to. So BCCI, when I was appointed there, I said, well, I've come in as a night watchman. Unfortunately, the night watchman has had to stay 25 months, much against our wishes. We don't want to run cricket. It is a democratic body. It should be entrusted to the democratic body. But our job is to conduct elections. And we are unable to conduct elections because there are 85 IAs pending before the Supreme Court today, filed by those very people who, if the elections are conducted, will get unseated.